With that being said, Yoda,
Yes, sir.
we are on and popping. This is Game Within the Game, boy.
Game within a motherfucking game. What we at? 19, I think
We
this
had
is.
19, huh?
19.
Hey, man, listen. What percentage is that? What percentage do you content creators or podcasters or whatever label you want to put on it? What percentage of podcasters or creators get to this stage, Jay? What do you think? Just if you had to spitball, what do you think?
So I know it's only roughly 1% that make it past the 20th episode. So I'd have to say we got to be somewhere in the 3 to 5% range right now.
Ah,
Because people, again, we've talked about all the time. People lack consistency of honestly the simplest things, like it's not that this doesn't take some degree of effort, but if you can't sit down once a week, once every few days, and say some things for an hour or so, then what are you doing, and where do you think you're ever really going to get in life?
but you can actually because you do it every time when you're sitting around joking, smoking, laughing, and bragging. People do it all the time, right? Might as well put a camera on and
You just don't want to do it for something that might benefit them. It's crazy that you said that, right? A lot of people will say they don't know what it is to talk about, but I would be willing to bet there would be a huge market for something that's just like candid conversations, like just
absolutely,
regular ass conversations of people that somebody could sit there and listen on their way to work and just hear other people talk
absolutely,
about shit with no rhyme or reason.
absolutely,
Guarantee you people would love that.
absolutely. If you're gonna gossip or talk about shit that doesn't mean anything, you might as well make some content out of it.
Make something out. If you just go on sit around and complain about your day, or you want to vent as everyone loves to do, might as well record it and throw it online and see what comes from it.
I'd be interested to see how many people are interested in other people's mundane complaints and everyday, you know.
See, this is the thing. Like I've seen people watch YouTube videos of people shopping at Target, or people watch videos of people cutting grass or doing their door dashing or Uber. I don't know if you can record Ubers because it's other people, but like recording their door dashing and stuff like that. Like people watch
You're right.
mundane shit all day, every day. So to have the opportunity to just feel like they were a voyeur into someone else's lives, and just to hear about someone's random ass day and learn about their relationships and what it is that they're struggling with and all of that, like I feel like there'd be a huge market for that, and someone could just capitalize on it. Like you said, you sit around with your friends regardless, talking about nothing, doing nothing. Just record it, see what happens. What's the worst that can happen? You got 15 minutes of editing on the back end and nobody listens to it. Ooh.
I find it that I would, you know what would probably detain that or deter that from being successful. People, the average person tends to change when the cameras come on or something, something's being recorded. So you wouldn't even be. It's like as soon as the camera or the tape recorder or something goes on, motherfuckers just start acting. They
Yeah,
just
that's fact.
start
They can't even beat them.
acting.
They can't even beat themselves.
They don't even know how to do it. So I would, I mean, I would love to see someone, organically do it. Just put it on. Well, maybe if it's like some fucking MTV shit punked where they don't even people don't even know they're being
They don't know that they're being
that
recorded.
that would be crazy.
That's interesting. What's interesting now that you said that, because that's a really good point. And I said in the beginning, this is like an untapped market of sorts. Like nobody does that. But I think that the reason for it is because nobody could do it, because they don't know how to be themselves once the camera shuts on.
Yeah,
And they don't want to see people talk about real shit. Like we sit here talk about real shit. They want to hear people talk about mundane nothingness. But the people who sit around and talk about mundane nothingness don't have the ability to be themselves once they know that they're being observed or watched or recorded. Very interesting paradox.
it is, man. It is. It's something to think about. It. If you listeners out there, if you think you could step up to the challenge and put a camera or recorder or whatever the case may be, you could put it on and be yourself and talk about the same shit in the exact same way that you've been talking about it with your friends and
Same
wasting time.
speaking pattern, same weird
Right.
shit, just whatever it is that you do, whatever it is that you talk about on a day-to-day basis. You complain about not being motivated, or you saw the news stories, or you're upset about cars and traffic, whatever nonsense it is that you talk about, just record it.
I know this doesn't have anything to do with this, but well, it kind of does. I don't know if you ever seen what is it called? ASMR.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What? Yeah, come on now. If you get 1 million followers just chewing some shit, come on now. What are we doing, man? Just get on the camera and chew.
You could, that's the crazy thing. Like, you can just tap books. So you know what? This made me think of a thing, and I'm gonna tie this back. But I have a friend, and he used to want to do YouTube and stuff. He used to want to do videography and filmography and stuff. And he went and got all of his setups. He got all of his fancy cameras. He got red cameras and all of that shit.
Wow.
But he did right. You see, you know what
Yeah,
the red camera is. So
yeah.
he had two.
Oh
But
shit.
he did everything but actually go out and charge people to make videos and shoot photos. He had the whole setup. He had logos. He had fucking C Corps and S Corps and shit, set everything around the business but the business, right? And then he thought that he failed at the business. But in reality, he just didn't do the one thing that he needed to do, which was, hey, you want your photo taken? I'll do it for 20, whatever the fuck amount of money, right? But at one point, he said that he wanted to start making these ASMR videos. At the time, I didn't know what it was. But come to find out, all it is motherfuckers tapping on books or
Chewing.
flicking shit, just making random ass noises and putting on loop on YouTube for 10, 12 hours, and people listen to it while they're asleep. But he never pulled the trigger on it because he wanted to make sure that he could get it just right. And it is this alleged pursuit of perfection that people have, right, that prevents them from ever actually doing anything. Because he was talking about this 7 years ago at this point. He will probably have a booming YouTube channel currently full of all kinds of people listening to random noises and people fucking stroking shoelace, whatever it is that they do, if he would have just gotten started. And that's all that you really have to do anything, is just start doing the thing. There is no such thing as perfection before execution. The only way that you're ever going to get anywhere near perfect is practice and repetition. So until you start doing the thing, you can never perfect the thing. So to anybody who is saying that you want to start XYZ, whatever business, whatever endeavor it is, you just want to make sure it's just right first, it's not possible. All you're doing is procrastinating, because the only way to get it right is to do it. Imagine if you said, I want to be the greatest rapper ever, but I'm not going to record a song until I'm the best at recording songs.
That's crazy.
You will be nowhere.
You can't start to be great unless you start to be fucking great.
Until you start. Greatness is a byproduct of sustained mediocrity.
Yep.
So you keep doing a bunch of loser shit until you're a winner. That's how it works.
That's crazy that you brought that up, because I was thinking today, I'm like, thinking of people who live in the past, and I grew up with a lot of people who live in the past, and I know a lot of people who live in the past. Not only live in the past, they exist in the past. Their total existence is in the past, and they're a shell of themselves today because they live in the past. And I go into my my little spill, and I definitely would like to hear what Yoda has to think about that, because I know you have some things to speak on this about. But I rarely relive the past. I've never seen any, or I've never had any use or saw any value in it. I know there are some people who sit around rehashing earlier glory years and with great jubilance and shit. I know some guys who even who glorify the events, get some weed, some drinks. They sit around and they revel in the woulda, coulda, shouldas, and what could have happened and all this nonsense. And Jay, what great comfort people find in discussing the probabilities of almost doing something substantial. I find that, I find that part interesting, the comfort in it, the way it makes you feel. We tell guys on this show all the time, or we tell people all the time on this show to stray away from comfort because there's no growth in it. And this kind of comfort I kind of compare it to, you ever on a hot day ever slid into some cool ass sheets and you just snugged up and it just feels so comfortable. That's what I kind of compared this living in the past comfort to, like an AC blowing just right. I compared that feeling kind of like when you're telling your friend or your so-called friend, remember I had this shit on lock in 1988 or whatever the case may be. I had this shit on lock. Remember that? And then your so-called friend, he smiles at you and he even adds on to your past glory. Yeah, man, you know, you was one of the first ones. Well, you know how we all know the discourse. We all know the verbiage. We know how this shit goes, right? And I know that feeling is a safe place. It's a very safe place. And, discussing what you have going on in your life right now may currently not be as good as a feeling because you ain't got nothing going on. Everything right now in this society is constructed to take advantage of you wanting this comfort. So staying engaged with the present is uncomfortable. But, being gifted in the past will never reward you in the present. So get out the fucking past because it's a waste of time. Chase your present and that'll lead to your future. And I just thought I should spill that out there because I thought of so many friends that if I was to see them today, they'll be like, yo, man, remember that old member, MEMBA, that old member. Remember? I don't want to remember. I don't fucking want to remember. I want to do shit now. I want to be great now. I don't want to talk about old times. I got new shit going on. And then, you know what, Jay? People will keep you there, too. We talk about drifters all the time. They want to keep you in the past. So beware of that word member. MEMBA. Member? I don't remember
Back
shit.
when?
I don't remember shit. I don't want to remember nothing. Right, Jay? What do you think about motherfuckers who live in the past, who exist in the past, who revel in it, who absolutely revel in it?
So I have a couple of thoughts. And first, I want to talk about the people, the friends who want to sit there and talk about the old days and how things used to be great, and remember when this happened, and remember back when we were doing XYZ and everything was cool back then. That girl that you used to talk to, the car that you used to drive, the places you used to go, all of that shit. And the person who spends all of their time hyping up your past is taking away from your present. Whether they know it or they intend to do it or not, that is exactly what it is that they are doing. And people who are focused on your past, again, have no place in your present, because all they are ever going to do is hold you back, because their glory days are behind them. Not because they have to be, but because they've chosen to leave them there. And rather than getting on the path that you're on and creating more glory days in the here and now, they want to keep reliving the old ones, and they want you to do the same. And the problem with this whole nostalgia and all of this thing is everything seems amazing when you look back on it. I thought about when I don't know if they still have this on cars now. I don't know if my car says it or not. I don't know, but they used to be able to see on the mirror, on the rear view mirror, objects in mirror are closer than they appear, right? And you see that, but what it's basically saying is that when you're looking back on things, they're not what it is that they appear to be. And that's how it is with this too, with all of the reminiscing and whatnot. Everything seems amazing in the past. But here, I had this thought a little while ago. people always talk about how things used to be amazing back in the day, right? But 5 years ago, you were reminiscing about 5 years before
Mm.
then, thinking about that time was so amazing. And now people are like, back in 2019. In 2019, you were talking about back in 2015. In 2015, you were talking about back in 2010. And in 2030, you're going to be talking about back in 2025. It's not that these times are special or amazing. It's just that you've written them that way when you look back at them, and you don't want to let go of that because you are not doing anything currently. But if you were focused on the now, if you were focused on the today, you wouldn't have time to worry about what it was that you were doing back then, because again, people want to relive their glory days because they're not doing anything with their current days. You hear the people all the time talk about, I remember I worked for an armored car company many decades ago, not many decades ago, but decade plus ago, whatever.
You ain't that
And
old, Yoda.
and it was this we had to load up the trucks and shit, and I'd been working out for like a year or two at the time. This real fat dude who every time he saw me would want to tell me about how back when he was my age, he used to bench 315 and he used to have the abs and all of that shit. And I always wondered, well, what happened? Why'd you stop? Where did it go? What made you say fuck it and start eating? Did you just give up? And then, people love to play it off like that's just a thing of you aging and whatnot. But that's not just because you're aging. That's because you've given up and went on to a different path, if you're telling the truth.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you had abs back in the day because you're fat now. It doesn't matter if you used to bench 315 back in the day because you're weak as shit now. By the same token, though, there are also the people who look back on their past and cry about it all of the time, right? And if your past sucked, it doesn't matter because that's not happening right now. No matter what you went through when you were younger, you're not going through it now. And again, no matter how good your life was when you were younger, it doesn't matter because that's not what it is now. But I say that to say a good past does not mean a good present any more than a bad past means a bad present. Because at the end of the day, all that you have is the here and now. You have these moments and you have what it is that you make of them. Fuck what you had, fuck what you've experienced. What are you acquiring and what are you experiencing currently?
Hey, AJ, man, just from you talking, you always bring a light bulb in my head when you go through your spills, and you're talking about you having a good past or having a bad past doesn't really affect your present. I wonder, is having a as having a troubled past more conducive to success than having a nice, comfy, or reliving in a comfy past that you've spun in your head that you were fucking a man in '88 and you had all this and you had the girls in the Benz. Is the past of I ain't have shit, now I gotta get shit? That might be, but you do have people who don't take it like that. Oh, I ain't have shit, I ain't gonna be shit. But you do have people who say, well, I ain't have shit, so I gotta have shit now. But how do you, if you had a great past, or you believe you had a great past, or you have convinced yourself you had a great past, how do you use that to motivate yourself in the present?
So I think you could go from it from both angles. It's all perspective at the end of the day, right? If you've had a great past and you've done great things and maybe you've fallen off, you now have proof that you can accomplish these things again. If you used to be in shape and you're not now, you've already proven to yourself that you can get in shape. You've proven to yourself that you could do the work. Maybe you used to have a booming business and it failed or it fell apart, whatever the case may be. But you've proven to yourself that you can in some capacity run a business. All you need to do now is go and build upon that and tap into what it was that you were doing before and look at it through a different lens rather than looking through your victim lens of, oh, poor me, this happened. You look at it through the triumphant lens, and think, what can I learn from this? What can I do different moving forward? I was walking down this path that was successful. At some point I took a wrong turn. Where was that wrong turn? So when I revisit the path, I don't make it. It's like if you go on a road trip somewhere and you get lost, the first time around. The next time you go on that road trip to the same place, I don't know, maybe you're driving far away to an amusement park or some shit, who knows? And you get lost the first time, the second time you know not
Yeah.
to do that. But you don't just decide you're never going to go to that fucking amusement park again. Maybe your kids want to go. So you got to go, but now you don't make that same turn. So you look at your past in the exact same way. You could do the same thing with the working out. You used to be in great shape. Well, why'd you stop? What happened to knock you off track? Avoid that this time. And then so whatever it is, I think both examples, whether you've had a good past or a bad past, can be proof that you can, it's proof that you can do something, or it's proof that you can overcome something.
Word.
And I usually say the thing about the bad past a lot, right? And people always give me some sort of stupid pushback, and they try to come up with a very extreme example to try and prove me wrong. So just to entertain the extreme example, people, let's say, for example, you were molested as a child and you spent years being tortured. Okay, but you made it out past that. Is going to the gym worse than being molested? Is waking up early worse than being tortured and beaten by your parents? Is any of the work that you're going, is working long hours worse than any of that? No. So if you can survive that, why the fuck can you not go do some bench presses? Why can you not wake up when your alarm goes off? If you had to deal with your perverted uncle, father, whatever it is that you would like to call it, why is it that you struggle to not eat food? Because I guarantee you, it's much easier to not eat a burger than to deal with any of that shit. So you've been given an amazingly high bar for pain tolerance. So anything under that should be a breeze to you.
Mm-hmm.
Either way.
Either way. And I knew, like I said, I knew the answer, but that's the way you put it, man. That's the way you spill it, man. And I like to use myself as an example because, it hits home, right? So I'll use myself as an example, as not dwelling or living in the past, because my career in hip hop, right, it can be broken into like 3 to 4. It could honestly be broken down into like 10 stages. But for the sake of argument, I'll narrow it down to 3 to 4 stages at least. There's my inception into music. I was writing for artists. Wrote for Vita, for Murder Inc., Puff. I wrote for Puff. Yeah, come on, don't do that, because I'm reliving it. Hell no, don't applaud that.
No. See, it's not reliving the past. This is acknowledging accomplishments.
No, I'm fucking
acknowledging
with
the accolades.
I'm not even doing that. I'm just giving you a rundown of the stages. These are the stages, right? And then the next stage was, there was Joe Buns and the 18 Fabulous Street Fam, and I lumped the Clue mixtape era with that. And then it was the stage of, me getting locked up and then coming home and trying to establish myself back into the fold, so to speak. And then there's now. And but each stage in the Clue days, Joe Buns days, I never relived the days for writing for Puff. Right? It wasn't, you know what I'm saying? I was like looking back like, man, I used to, because that would have stagnated me. When I came home from prison, I didn't dwell on what happened with Joe or the A-Team or Clue. I didn't sit around reliving that past. My only concern was the present and what I was doing now, or what I'm doing now. So you won't see me with any flashback Fridays or throwback Thursdays. You won't see any of that from me. And when people try and revel in my past, I quickly remind them of my present and what I'm achieving now. So, like I said, man, stay away from the remember we used to conversations, especially if you feel like you have more to accomplish, because drifters will feed you that conversation or try to bait you into that conversation. I get all the time when I'm on social media, yo man, why you don't rap like, or they'll pull up old clips of me, and I won't respond to them. Like, why are you still there and I'm not? It's crazy to me. Why are you still there? That tells me everything I need to know about you. Oh, Rand, why don't you sound the same? Why don't you rap the same? Why don't you do it? Why don't you do things the way you used to 30 years ago, like, or whatever, how many years ago it was? Why don't you do things the same way you did 20 something years ago?
I'm not a fucking loser.
It tells you everything you need to know about certain people's mentality, right? And I stay away from people like that. And most people be like, yo, you know, why don't you have this amount of friends, or why don't you do this, or why don't you do that? Because people live in certain time frames in their life where they feel like they were their happiest, and they'll pull you in that same and convince you that you were happiest in this time too. I don't I don't subscribe to that type of mentality. And the reason I bring this stuff up is the reason we bring this stuff up is to kind of steer people into another direction. How do I become successful? Rand, Jason, Yoda, Oracle. How do I do these things? I know you guys talk about it all the time, but how the fuck do I accomplish these things? And one of the things is staying out of the past, staying engaged in the present and focused and consistent in the present right now. What are we doing right now? And whoever in your vicinity is bringing up the past and how the past was so great, you get away from them people fast,
Immediately.
man.
The past is a path to nowhere. Like the big problem with the past is that yes, it happened, but for all intents and purposes, it didn't, because it's done now, and it could be anything that you would like it to be at this point. It could be as terrible as you want it to be, or it could be as amazing as you want it to be. And 9 times out of 10, it will be whatever is the least beneficial to you. If you are sad and you're looking for reasons to be sad, I promise you your past will seem like the worst thing in the world to you. Or if you are looking for if you are sad currently, you're looking for something to be happy about, that you will find the greatest times in the world in your past, and you will sit there and you will live in those times, and that will prevent you from doing the stuff that you need to do right now in this moment. The best days of your life should never be behind you. Your best time should never be memories. That, and until you're 97, 98 years old, your best time should be currently and ahead of you, because you are working to make those things happen. And I wanted to say before going to the game within a game thing, nostalgia is very heavily pushed in society nowadays. They bring back all of the old stuff. They talk about the 90s, they talk about the 80s, they talk about the early 2000s, and they reference all of these things all of the time in popular culture and popular media and all of these things. And again, we talk all of the time, whatever narratives it is that they are narrating, you need to ask yourself, why is it what this is that we are focusing on? So the question is, are people naturally inclined to reminiscing, or are they encouraging you to reminisce and look back because they know that's how it is that you stay stagnant? That's how it is that you stay stuck. I see people all the time talking about, well, back in 2006, this was happening. Back in 1992, this was happening. Who gives a fuck? It is 2025. What are you doing now? Who cares what food costs then? Who cares what TV looked like then? Who cares what childhoods were like then? You're raising your kids now, not in 2007. So none of that shit matters. You give your kids the best childhood that you can now. You teach them how to navigate the world now, and you need to do the same for yourself. I'm sure your salary could pay 19 different rents back in 2006, but you don't live at 2006. Who gives a fuck? So make more money now. You could do all of these things currently, because again, also when people like to go back and look at the past, they only ever want to point out the good stuff, but they want to ignore all of the pitfalls and stuff like that. Sure, back in 2006, rent was $600 a month. Amazing. But you couldn't make $1 million on YouTube petting pillows. What about that? Go do that. You couldn't randomly make a bunch of money from buying a random ass crypto coin that you don't understand off of your phone. You could do that now. Go do that. You couldn't just run around starting businesses and getting paid off of your phone, just simply recording yourself saying shit, but you can do that now. There are all kinds of things you could do now that you couldn't do back then. Sure, some shit was cool, amazing. Some shit wasn't. Once you left the house back in the day, that was just it. You were just fucking outside.
Right.
Like, Now, back when I was younger, like if I want to go to my friend's house, like I'd call the motherfucker, and then between the time that I left my house and got there, I had no idea what was going on. I could have got to his house, he could have fucking left and done some whole other shit because you
Right,
can't
right.
contact people. So shit changes. For some changes are better, some changes are worse. But at the end of the day, we are where we are now, and that's what you need to focus on. And again, anybody telling you or drawing your attention to your past is not your friend. The shows and the movies and the music and all of that stuff drawing your attention to the past are not for you either. These are not benefiting you. These are detrimenting you because it makes you sad about shit currently. And they paint these things through rose-colored glasses. I saw an article a few years ago about how somebody was I don't know if it was an article, whatever. Someone was talking about how like they like romanticized the 80s and shit and movies and whatnot. But he was like, I lived in the 80s. There was absolutely nothing to fucking do.
Right,
Like,
right, right.
it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, so they make it look good because you're like, I wish I lived in that time. Like, I see people all the time talk about, I was meant for a different era. No, the fuck you weren't. You're a loser now. You would have been a loser back then.
I
You
would have
think
been
because you
great
lived
in
in the
'88.
80s, you wouldn't be a loser? Huh?
I-
Yeah, I would, man, if I was alive back in the 60s, man, no, you would have been a loser then too. That's the problem because you are here now. It's not that you're not made for some past era that you've never experienced. You just figure that you can't make it now and you blame the rest of the world for that rather than your fucking self. You're a loser now. You would have been a loser in the 60s. You would have been a loser in the 20s and you would have been dead in the 1850s.
Oh, yeah.
And that's another thing that a lot of these people don't understand when they sit and complain about this shit. Like, you understand, like back in the day, you would have been slaves.
Yeah. They'd have castrated your dumbass. You'd have been the
Because
first.
you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah, you'd have been
And
the
you're
first
useless.
one. You'd have been the first one.
Once upon a time, they killed useless people. Now you get to complain on the internet.
Wow.
Think about that.
Wow. Hey, yo, that was, how super interesting that is because you're right. You're right. If you go on social media, all you see is old clips of Michael Jordan and old players and old rappers and old I used to be, I used to be, I used to do, I used to do. It's like, yo, what the fuck are you doing now, bro? It's crazy you said that because that's all you see. I can go on X right now and all I'm gonna see is old clips of Michael Jordan. I like
Mike Tyson and shit
Mike
back in the day.
Tyson. It's like
People posting Conor McGregor championship. Like,
Yeah.
he don't even fight no
you don't even fight. No, like what are we? You're right. They romanticize. They make this shit into some glorious thing. I didn't even think about that angle. How they pitching it to you too. That's crazy. You spun it right back to it, man. It's almost like they're inviting you. They're inviting you to
That's
stay.
what they want you focused on, is all of the old shit back in the day.
It's crazy, yo. It's like, and that brings me to freedom, right? And living free or being free, and how things can imprison you, or certain ideologies or certain things you see can imprison. And the past, Yoda, the past is like a prison. The past can imprison you, and living in the present is freeing. But the one thing about freedom is not free. Shit ain't free, right? It's simple, but it
Nothing
ain't
more
easy.
expensive than freedom.
Yeah, right? So when we give game on freedom on this show, Jay, I don't think everyone understands the meaning of it or what we're trying to say. And for the gray area thinkers, the idea of freedom may vary from person to person. And in my opinion, Jay, once you get a little taste of freedom, there's only one definition. There's only one, in my opinion. Once you get a little taste, there's only one, right? But for the sake of our argument, we could say everyone's freedom is different. I don't agree with that. But what's the one thing people wish they had more of, right? And me and you know the answer to this. But people with life-changing money, they will say, or people without life-changing money, excuse me, people without life-changing money, they'll say, well, I wish I had more money. People with life-changing money, what would they say, Jay? What would they want? They want time, right, Jay? So
Time.
they people with money, they want more time, right? This is why I get mad when time is wasted. Um, what money does is buy you time, and time is currency. Time is the currency of freedom. Um, the more
Mhm.
time you have, the more freedom you have. Um, so, and I say that to say, using myself as an example again, um, when I said I didn't tour and that I wasn't a rapper, so to speak, um, some people got upset, like I was like being too cool for school or some shit, but I'm really not, right? What it is, I just don't want the constraints of being a rapper or being perceived as a rapper. You gotta act a certain way, you gotta talk a certain way, you gotta go certain places, you gotta fucking walk, talk, and dress and all this other shit behind this cloak of being a rapper, right? That's not what I want. You can't. I don't want to be called that because I don't want the chains and the shackles of that on me. I want to be who the fuck I want to be. People got mad. Oh yeah, he can't say that. He's a rapper. No, the fuck I'm not. That in itself is a prison, right? That I'm trying that I freed myself from. Fuck trying. I'm gone. That's why I said, don't, you can't call me a motherfucking messiah, motherfucker. Don't call me no fucking rapper. You call me what I tell you to call me. Um but
That's
being
what everybody's arguing for, anyways. Nowadays, right? Y'all want to
right,
be, y'all want to
right.
throw all these fucking labels around or yourself. Why can't we do it?
That's freedom, right? You're free to do so, right? That's what you think. They give you the cloak of that freedom. You get to call yourself whatever the fuck you are. You're not fucking free. But I'm not a rapper, but being able to decide when and if I want to tour is what, Jay? That's a certain freedom. That's a
Freedom.
certain freedom I have. I could do whatever the fuck I want when I want. That is what when I said that I rap to disappear, it's because I rap to be free. I don't want to live in a certain place where people think I have to live. I don't want to talk a certain way,
Mm.
walk a certain way. I don't have that. I don't have to be somewhere where someone tells me where to be. Yo, you got to show here, or you got to be here at 8 o'clock for this interview, or you got to do this. I don't. That's no. I don't want any of that. So I set myself up to where I don't have to do any of those things, right? Because I have an idea of what freedom is to me or what it looks like to me. So, um, offices, schools, neighborhoods, political parties, religion, any one of those things you can be a prisoner of, right? And I don't subscribe, I am not beholden to any of those things. And if I do have I don't want to say prisons, but whatever prisons or ideologies that I'm sticking to, I try to free myself of those things. So the ultimate goal, I told someone on social media the other day, the ultimate goal is freedom. When we was talking about trigger words and how someone has control over you with the words. Well, how can you be totally free if someone can control you like that with a word? It's like hypnotism. Somebody could just do this, say this word, and you're off and running. That's not freedom to me, right? So your definition, I know, is similar to mine, but you're just give them game on what being free is. Free of not only free of working somewhere, or just free of mental captivity. Also, what does that look like?
So my answer is, I'm going to start with what you said about the not being a rapper thing. What people don't understand is to define something is to limit it. Because when you're saying what something is, you're also saying what something isn't.
Isn't
When I take this and I say this is a comb, I'm also saying this is not a brush. So when you say that you're a rapper, you're saying you are this thing. You're also saying what it is that you're not. Because again, if you are a thing, it also comes with things that you're not. And people love to assign all these labels to themselves and put themselves in these little boxes. They want to call themselves introverts or depressed or type A, or they want to go and take all these weird sexuality labels and all of that stuff, or they take their personality test and they're an INTJ-A or whatever. And all of that is well and fine and sounds fun while you're doing it. But every single one of these things that you attach to yourself also comes with its own set of limiting beliefs. When you tell yourself you're an introvert, you're telling yourself that you're not an extrovert. So you're now saying that you can't go off and do these extroverted things. You can't run around and be outgoing. You can't run around and be outspoken. You can't run around and talk to people. Not because you factually can't, but because you have put yourselves under the constraints of not being able to. And what people don't realize, again, same thing. When you take the Democrat, the Republican, you say, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican. You're not only adopting what you believe, but you're also adopting what you don't believe. So now you're just limiting yourself from a whole bunch of these other things. You're saying you go along with certain things and you reject other things. And you're boxing yourself in with all of these things. And this is the problem that people have, is most people run around making arguments based off of labels that they have attached to themselves, not their own free thought. And I personally, much like yourself, I completely, fully agree with the idea of rejecting labels. I don't like when people people come and talk to me about stuff they want to work on and say, I'm an addict. Well, I say, okay, stop calling yourself an addict. That's fucking ridiculous. Because how you can't run around saying that you're an addict and now you're forever going to have a problem with this thing because you're labeling yourself as someone who struggles with these things. So I think the whole AA, the NA, all of that shit is stupid. I'm a drug addict. Stop saying that you're a fucking drug addict. Same thing, people, I'm not a morning person. Stop saying that you're not a morning person. Stop assigning yourself all of these labels of things that you do not want to be. And you need to just live in a world where you can grow and where you can adapt and you can take what it is that benefits you and reject what it is that does not benefit you. People do the same thing to me. Like, people tell me that I'm an influencer or a content creator. I reject all of that. I don't participate in these things. I'm none of these things. I'm just me. This is what I'm doing currently. And if I want to do other things, I will do other things. I will do whatever it is that I see fit, because in my world, in my mind, I am free to do so. I adopt beliefs that serve me and I reject beliefs that do not. This is another reason that I also don't participate when people talk about, well, the study says this. I don't give a fuck. I don't believe that, because I believe first and foremost that what I believe matters more than everything else, because that's what it is that's going to shape your reality. And if you don't have that belief, if you don't believe that your own perceptions and ideas and thoughts are of the utmost importance, then you can never be free of anything. You are always going to be a slave to something. You are always going to be a slave to outside sources, to outside interference, to outside input. There was a thing a while back where people were talking about all Skittles taste the same. And there is some sort of research or some shit that proves it. And they said it's just because you see it and you associate the flavors or whatever, or you smell it, whatever the fucking case may be. And these are people who had gone their whole entire life eating Skittles. They had a favorite flavor. They liked the red, they liked the yellow, they didn't like the purple, whatever the case may be. Then they read this thing and that said all of these taste the same. And they said, oh, I must have been wrong this whole time. And if that is the way that your mind works, you are a slave, period. And this is one of the reasons that I reference the fucking transformer gender bender shit so much, because it is a beautiful example of slave programming in your brain. People have gone their whole entire lives saying this is a man, this is a woman. Then all of a sudden somebody popped up and said, well, this scientist says otherwise. And now people said, oh, and just fall in line. That is slave thinking. That is not freedom. That is not you having your own thing. That is no sovereignty. And if you're not free in your mind, you cannot be free anywhere else.
Absolutely.
Period.
Absolutely. And it's crazy when you say you could absolutely, right? God forbid, you could say I'm a content creator or I'm an influencer or I'm a rapper. God forbid you say, or you could say I'm introverted or I'm an addict, and people will accept that. But if I say, man, I'm a God walking this earth, dog. I'm a king, nigga. Fuck you talking about? I'm a Messiah. They will look at you like you fucking crazy. That's where we at. That's where we at. That's the slave mentality. That's the slave mentality. And it's interesting you brought that part up because I was thinking the same thing. Like, if I was to say, man, look, I'm the greatest thing walking. I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread. I don't give a fuck what you think. Oh yeah. Well, I ain't no motherfucking rapper. I'm offended. I'm offended that you think that less of me. That I'm a fucking rapper. The fuck is that?
What's interesting though is we can get up here and attach any sort of negative label to ourselves and nobody will question it. People might talk
Nobody.
shit, but they're not going to question it. I could pop up here and say I'm a terrible person. I'm a misogynist. I'm a woman beater. And people will be like, "Oh, you suck." But as soon as I say that I'm something great, that I'm something amazing, then all of a sudden it's a problem.
It is they have disputes.
People,
Now we can
every
debate.
time they will accept the negativity happily.
Yeah.
You can sit there and be as self-deprecating as you want,
Yeah.
and that's fine. But as soon as you get to any sort of self-aggrandizement, it's a problem, and you're delusional, and you're narcissistic, and you're arrogant, and you're out of touch and big-headed and need to be taken down a peg, and you are full of yourself and all of that shit. And all of that, again, this is slave thinking here.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, period. I like when you say period, man. Because you put a period on that motherfucker. Period.
That's what the fuck it is. This is slave minded. They run around, they throw this narcissism label around. Anytime you say something good about yourself, anytime that someone thinks that you believe in yourself, they'll be like, "Oh, you're a narcissist." Like it's a bad thing that I think I'm great. Like it's a bad thing that I think I'm amazing. And when people will sit there and pop up and say shit to me, you just like hearing yourself talk. Yes, I do. I love hearing myself talk. I listen back to these podcasts. I watch my videos and I think, man, look at me saying all of these things. Go me. I have no fucking shame in this. And I think I said this before. It's a TV right there. I could see myself when I make videos. I look up sometimes. I'm like, damn, look at me, motherfucker. If that makes me a narcissist, motherfucking fine. Because the only reason that anyone is ever going to be able to accomplish shit is because they believe in themselves. The only reason that you are where it is that you are right now is because you believed in yourself. You said I'm the motherfucking greatest and then set out to prove it.
Yeah.
That's what you're supposed to do in life.
Supposed to do. An unbreakable. I have an unbreakable faith. People call it delusion. And
that's fine. See, losers call it delusional.
Yeah.
Winners call it confidence.
Yep.
That's the difference there. When you're not doing anything, it's a problem. You're arrogant. But when you're doing something, you see somebody else, then you are like, you believe in yourself too. You really doing this shit. Hell yeah.
Yeah, you could see other people who have that light, right? And you give them a head nod when you see them, man. Yeah, like, you got the light, man. Right?
Yep. But people who don't think shit of themselves don't want anyone else to think that they are shit.
Oh yeah, we don't even communicate with those type of. I see them a mile away. That's 99% of the people walking the street. I just don't even look their way. I could just feel their slobbish energy, and I hate it. But that's another story.
It's fucking terrible, man. They spread that shit everywhere. This is these are the people who run around with the "we're all equal and nobody's better than anyone." Shut the fuck up. That's not true.
It's not true. It's not true at all.
It's not true. Shut the fuck up.
No, we're not equal at all.
Period.
We're not equal.
Period.
At all. You're not even...
This is an ignorant coping mechanism ass belief to sit there in all of your insignificance and worthlessness while you go and do your mundane ass shit that contributes nothing to the world, to sit there and cut on the TV and think that you are the equivalent of any president. It doesn't even matter to think that you and him are the same. Whether it's a president you like or not, you are not the equal to this person. Period.
You ain't even close to
This is life. If this president died, it would be national news. If you died, someone else would have to pay to put it in a newspaper.
Ooh, god damn. What that means, man? What that mean, man? Go out and make something of yourself, man.
Do something. That's the thing. Again, I'm not sitting here saying I'm the most important person in the world, but I guarantee you, if I died tomorrow, it would be a headline somewhere.
Somewhere, man. And that goes to what I was saying, Jay, about time and not wasting it I value time on another level. It's money's one thing, but time is another thing, and wasting time is a pet peeve of mine. I despise people who waste time, and I despise people more who waste others. They waste other people's time. It's fucking
The
it's the
worst.
worst thing.
That is selfish. That is ungrateful. That is disrespectful. That yeah.
And it's like that brings me to something else. See, I'm just thinking and spitballing. I'm like, now I'm pissed off, Jay. Here go the fire. You lit it.
We need some rants sometimes.
I'm a fucking rant. Cause now you just made me think of these niggas who waste time and on past things, and this is just. Let me tell y'all. Let me speak to my folks. Any minority, Jay, any minority telling another minority they're being oppressed, it's a fucking joke. It's a waste of time. Now, here's another thing, Jay. You ever noticed all these niggas who feeding you this bullshit? They seem to be doing well themselves. No one's delivering these messages from a fucking cardboard box. Nobody. I'm telling you right now, black folks, Mexican folks, Spanish people, whoever, you can be free. You can be free as fuck right now. If you stop worrying about fucking tariffs and Diddy and Cassie's and whatever the case and Michael Jordan clips, you can be free. Look, I'd go if you got money for a nice car, a Benz, a BMW, you can be free. You could work towards being free. If you got money for Fendi, Prada, Gucci, you could be free. If you got money for bottles, strippers, and nightclubs, you could be free. Who's oppressing you from throwing money on strippers? Niggas talking about Trump tariffs and Balenciaga sneakers. It's like, what the fuck are we doing? A motherfucker will be sitting on a stage set, Jay, behind a 4K camera, perfectly groomed and educated, telling you you're oppressed. Very articulately. You are fucking nothing, right? Sitting on a fucking couch that costs a couple $1,000s. Jay, what's I know that was a little bit of rant. I don't even know where the fuck that shit came from.
No. I'm all the way here for it.
But I'm like, okay, what are we doing? How are you dwelling on these topics, tariffs and ditties and this, and I'm oppressed and white supremacy and presidents and political parties. That's a waste of time. That's what I'm getting at. You're wasting valuable time. You need to be getting out and doing something. Like Jay said, if these people you're worrying about, if they died and got buried, it'll be news somewhere. Stop worrying about them and what they're doing or what their perceived oppression may be towards you or your particular whatever you're doing in your life, which is not affecting anything because you have Balenciaga sneakers.
Ooh.
The fuck, man? How the fuck are you oppressed?
That be the thing though, and that's a fantastic point. These motherfuckers will sit up here and make their videos on their $1,500 iPhones and then go send it off to their editor that they pay $300 a video for and say the government's holding you down.
Like, yo.
Okay. How the fuck are you making these videos then? Who bought you this phone? Who got you these editors? Where'd you get your money from? You have a nice house. You have a nice car. Why didn't oppression affect you? Why did you get to sidestep the white supremacy that's holding everybody else down? Where is this? Why are you telling everyone else that they can't go do some shit while you're out having done some shit? What sense does that make? And then you're sitting there. There are people who sit there and watch these rich minorities tell them that they can't be rich minorities. Who the fuck do you think you're watching, dipshit? Like, what are you talking about? This motherfucker has money. Why did the system not hold him down? Like, what is it that we are sitting here talking about? This shit is absolutely ridiculous. And then the crazy, again, we've talked about this before, but people will sit there and go, and point to Oprah. She experiences racism. She's fucking rich. She's been on TV for 40 years. What are you talking about? How are you going to go find a successful person and then try and figure out how they're not successful? This is absolute insanity. You can go and fucking do something, because exactly what it is that you said. Nobody has stopped you from spending
Nobody.
$5,000 on your Louis Vuitton shoes. Why do you have an $8,000 hoodie? What oppression didn't prevent you from purchasing that? It didn't prevent you from buying pounds of weed. You're in the club throwing $30,000 a night. Where's the oppression?
I don't
Why
know.
are they making you do this? Did your oppressors make you go and shoot up the people up the street because they're wearing different colors than you? Why didn't the oppressor stop you from buying your $100,000 Hellcat that you make all kinds of noise up and down your street in your bum ass house in the middle of the fucking night? They didn't do that. Why didn't the oppressor stop you from putting these $5,000 speakers in your trunk? Maybe you just do stupid shit. Has that ever occurred to you? Because you clearly know how to make money. Those chains aren't free. And despite what people want to say, even if they're fake, they're still expensive. They still cost money. So,
Yeah,
like,
sure do.
who fucking cares? Maybe the diamonds aren't real. Maybe you have fake diamonds in your chain. It still costs money. You could take this money and you could invest. You could take this money and you could start a business. You could take this money. You can not do anything with it and just use your phone and make fucking videos like everyone else does and make some money. There are things that you can do. Nobody is stopping you from doing any of these things. And you see, they want to sit there and talk about when people act a certain way. This is not true. Look at these streaming motherfuckers.
I was
Look
just
at this. Is
thinking
not a
that.
knock to KSI as a whole. I don't know a great deal about him, but he is conduct wise, from what I've seen, on the more ignorant side, and he's wildly fucking successful. So you could clearly go do whatever the fuck it is that you would like to do. Why didn't the oppressors pop up and say, hey, black man, you're making all this money, give it to me and go to jail? Why didn't that happen? Why is he free? Why are they stopping you, but they're not stopping him? Don't you think that they would have it, that it would make more sense for them to want to go and stop the ones who are doing something, not the ones who aren't doing something? What are you talking about? Who is preventing you from doing any fucking thing? The answer is nobody. And somebody said, I'll say this all the time, and somebody will sit there and say, there's laws in place. Okay, which ones? What are they? What are the laws that says, hey, you niggers, you can't do things?
Right.
Where is that?
I don't know.
Where, you know what? It's an interesting thing too, right? When people, this is just another thing. If anyone was actually smart and wanted to go for some lawfare thing, people talk about this little 3/5 thing in the Constitution, right?
Yeah.
And this is just a random thought that popped into my head. I don't know if you could do this, but like, rather than complaining about that, I would argue that a good lawyer can argue that the laws don't apply to you because you're not
Yeah,
a real person.
I thought of that too. I'm not human. Like, I ain't human.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if this is the case, these laws are for people. I'm not a person.
Yeah,
I'm not a
I'm
citizen.
not a human. Like,
a good lawyer could make that argument.
well,
so you want to go sit there and find all of the bad shit. You want to go find the detriment. You go find the positivity. But as a whole, go do something. You sent me the video of all of these bitches dancing at, I don't know if it was a graduation of college or high school or some shit.
Mhm.
Just the whole entire thing, just acting like fucking buffoons in wildness. And again, culture, as they call it. But the interesting thing to me is, you could take whatever group of people that you would like to say are oppressed. Let's take the gay people. The gay people are the reason that people don't like gay people. Not all gay people, but it's the flamboyant, weird ones that draw all of the attention, that run around looking crazy and shit. And this is what people look at, and this is, you paint the community in broad strokes.
You could say that about any. Yeah, right. I think
anybody.
Anybody.
You see that this is your representatives, and that's the problem.
That's the problem.
People see, like, the problem is, and I think it was, who the fuck? I think it was 19 Keys said he went to Japan, and he said they don't know who Malcolm X is, but they know who 50 Cent is. And not 50 Cent the businessman. 50 Cent back in the day who was shooting everything. That's who they know. So the problem is that your representatives are Gucci Man, not Gucci Man now. Gucci Man back in 06 with the ice cream cone on his face committing crimes. That's who the representatives are.
And that's the problem. That's an interesting point, Jay, because when I say stuff like that, like, yo, this dude maybe he shouldn't be wearing a dress, or this dude shouldn't be doing this. No, he's free. He's free to express himself, or maybe he shouldn't be. Maybe this bitch shouldn't have her thong out. You know what I mean? With cigarette burns on the asshole, fucking twerking. Oh no, oh no, she's expressing herself. Like, yo, dog, she represents me. And that's, you know what I'm
That's the
saying? That's the
problem
point.
is it's the visible people. Like, who do you want people to think of
That's
when
the
they
point.
think of you?
That's
Is
the
it
point.
this? It shouldn't be.
That's the point. That's the point.
That's the
That's
problem.
the
And this
problem.
is why people don't like you.
Yeah.
This is why people have an issue with you, because again, it's always the loudest people. And it's the same thing. You could take the fucking the white folks and the fucking MAGA people and whatnot. It's the loudest, most
Yeah.
ignorant ones that get the attention, and they're the ones who paint everyone else. So this is what people think of. Same thing with the Democrats and the liberals. It's the
Everything.
loudest,
Yeah.
most ignorant ones.
Yep.
It's the man with the breast implants and the chest hair and the crazy colored hair that's wearing a fucking Smurf mask talking about his pronouns. That's who represents you. So the point isn't that people shouldn't be allowed to go be like Sexy Red or fucking weird Smurf mask guy. That's fine. But when you have to then understand, when these people see these people and they think of you, that's the problem. And especially as you're going to sit here and make these arguments that you're oppressed or looked at a certain way, you can't play into that shit and then get mad when people think that's you.
Right.
You want to run around all ghetto and shit, they get mad that people think you're ghetto. That's your own fucking fault.
Exactly. And what people don't understand is, this is, like you said, this could work for any collective of,
Any group,
yeah,
anybody,
like the reason,
anybody.
if you're black and you don't like white people, I know why you don't, because it's a collective of white people that you've seen
that are very unlikable.
Right. Exactly. So when you see,
like this,
yeah,
that's the thing though. But here's the thing. And we talked about the Asians before. They don't have this problem because they don't allow themselves to be portrayed in such a way.
Wow. Yeah, I can't think of any.
You don't know what an ignorant Asian person looks like, because when you think of Asian criminals, you think of the Yakuza who are running around in suits, very professional with their glasses and shit. They're not fucking ignorant.
That's a great point. Now, of course, well, I was going to say that we did create this image of ourselves. We didn't. Yeah, we created it, and then others helped popularize it, but we created it, and it was popularized. And this is the way most people think. There's people who've never been around black people, so when they see this, they like,
that's what they think of
animals. There's black people who ain't never been around white people, so they have a perception of that, or never been around Asians, or Asians who've never been around, and vice versa. Right? So you always have this image of what this may be, and our image is fucking horrible. Not a good one.
See, that's the thing. When I was a kid, I don't know. I didn't when I was young. I don't really go to school with a lot of Asian people. But when I thought of Asian people, I thought of Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan and Jet Li.
But that was cool. That's cool.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, though. Yeah. So it's you have to think about, what are people who don't know you, what do they see? And most of the time, it's not good. Because again, even when you come to, say, hip-hop, the most prevalent thing culture-wise, the people who are propped up and looked to and pushed are not, it's not you, it's not Lupe Fiasco, it's not Lloyd Banks, it's Sexy Red. It's, I don't know. I always say her. I don't know any of the young people that are out now.
She's the worst of the worst, though. So we can stick with her.
There's dudes who make music like that too, and it's stupid and it's nonsensical. But that's what it is that gets seen, and this is not a good representation as a whole. I'm sorry. You could say the kids like it. Okay, that's fine. But I see all the videos on the internet too of all the YNs, as they call them, running around doing stupid shit with ski masks and all of this other nonsense. This is just ignorance, and this is detrimental.
It is.
And the problem is, again, as we discussed either last episode or the episode before, the problem is that people will defend this and say that having a problem with it is racism. You need to be able to check your people and say, you are fucking, this is the point of OGs. This is what this
Yes,
is like. What are you
we
talking
talked
about?
about
Is to
that
say,
too.
get yourself the fucking
Yeah,
line.
we talked about
This
that
is
too.
not what it is that we need to be doing.
Yeah, we remember we talked about the lack of
The lack of guidance.
yeah.
But see, that's the problem now. It's the older ones who are calling the shit racist.
That's the. Come on now.
Like you need to be able to sit here and take an objective look and say, can I understand why people don't like you? Yes,
Yeah.
I can.
Yeah, you got to watch who you're getting these messages from, and that's why I always attack these fake ass. I don't know, people call them charlatans or whatever the case may be. They need to be attacked because, like you said, look where they're delivering these messages from. The comfy couch.
The most unoppressed people in the world
Right.
telling you that you're oppressed.
Think about it.
Like back in the day, fucking Malcolm X and Marcus Garvey and all of them were poor
Exactly.
too.
Exactly. Malcolm X ain't have a dime to his name, yo. He was fighting with you. He was fighting with you. That was the point.
Broke.
Yeah, these motherfuckers ain't fighting with you. They not fighting with you, dog.
Look at the people nowadays who are the last person that I see from the culture that was a mainstream figure pushing all of the progressiveness was Nipsey Hussle. And he wasn't running around talking about the oppressed shit. He was talking about what can you do?
King shit. Yeah, he was like
exactly all of the time.
Investing.
All of the time. Manifestation, universe, king, God level, elevate yourself shit. Not we're poor, not we're slaves, not we're bums, not any of that. Elevate yourself.
It's time, man. It's time. And this is this where we at, man. I don't have a problem attacking these, these charlatans. I kind of hate that word. It's like I hate when they give us words and now we got to use them. Fucking charlatans. Never used that word before, but now all of a sudden I have a use for them, like tariffs. And it's crazy how they could just give you these words, bestow these words upon you, and now it's a part of your daily verbiage.
This is just what you talk about now.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that. I find myself doing it also. I don't like it. Tariffs. I never used that word ever.
Not at all, but it's the media buzzword now. It's what it is that we're supposed to think about. People act like they understand it. They're sitting there trying to explain it like, motherfucker, you only heard about this shit a few months ago. You don't know.
You don't know, and it's okay. It's okay.
That's fine. You don't need to.
You don't need to know.
And the thing is, at the end of the day, we talk about all the time, you could complain about it, all it is that you would like. Even if you understand how tariffs work and you make the most amazing point about why we shouldn't have tariffs or why they're bad, they're still motherfucking there. So you need to live in that reality. They exist now. What are you going to do? It's very easy to walk up the street, find a roadblock, and eloquently explain why the roadblock, it shouldn't be there. But guess what? It's still your motherfucking way. Find a way around it or find a way to climb it or turn around and go the fuck back home.
And that's
period.
That's it. That's that.
Those are your only choices. And this is the problem. People get caught up in all these buzzwords and all of the hype and all of this, like you said, Diddy this and Cassie that, and you want to sit here and have all of these debates, man. Shut the fuck up. What are you doing? What is it that you are doing? And the problem, here's a thing, just going back to what it was that we were saying about being able to condemn shit, right? There are a certain subsect of people who were saying that Diddy is them making an example out of a powerful black man. And the problem comes, when you make everything about race.
I told you that's a key word, black.
Yes, you need to let this shit be. You need to let this shit go because you are hurting your own causes. Because the fact of the matter is, I'm not making any claim. I don't know what Diddy did or did not do. But if he's guilty of all of those things, he needs to go to jail. If he's not, there's a possibility that they're not just trying to make an example out of a black man, because not doing that shit, Jay-Z.
Well, not yet. I don't hope not. But I don't think it has anything to do with, well, to say it has, I don't know if it has anything to do with color, but it definitely has something to do with influence and power. And
yeah, that's the thing. He ran afoul. If he's not guilty, then he ran afoul of some people, white or black. You would have had the same exact outcome. And we talked before about he had the issues with the liquor people. And then this, and we also, I think we talked about this off camera, but back in 2020, he was talking about holding the black vote hostage because he's been the rock the vote guy for forever.
Can't say
right?
that.
So now, if you also notice, he got arrested right before the election came out. Maybe they just didn't want him around for that. There are so many other things that could have possibly happened other than it being because he's black. This hurts your cause when you make everything about that.
Yeah, I just don't like that word now. Black this, black that, black this, because you don't see the only white thing you see is white supremacy, but you don't see white movies and white love. White love. Like,
here's the thing. I think that the problem is, we talked about this a little bit before. I was listening to one of our old episodes where you were talking about the guy who went on the Breakfast Club. I want to say his name is Clarence something, and he was talking about black people had their own bus lines and their own stores and all of that stuff, right? And the problem didn't come until that we decided we wanted to be a part of everything, to be assimilated into everything. And I find it interesting that we run around and call the white folks and the Europeans colonizers and whatnot, right? For going places and taking over stuff, while at the same time demanding that they make their characters, they make Superman black, they make James Bond black, they make the Little Mermaid black. You're trying to take over all of their shit. You want to be put in charge of their companies.
But here's the thing, Jay. Here's the thing. It behooves them to do so. This is my point. Because we're consumers now. So yeah, they might make James Bond black to sell us. Like, come on, Sinners just made all this fucking money. It's because it's a black movie. And poor Ryan Coogler's like, hey, wait a minute, it's just a movie. Hold on, wait, it's not a black movie, it's a movie. But look, you're fighting to make Superman black and James Bond black, and instead of creating your own characters, right?
Go make a black super. Stop trying to make Superman black and go make a black Superman.
Whatever happened to Hancock, man? Hancock was cool, man. They could have, right?
What about Shaft?
What about Shaft?
About Black James? What about Shaft?
Yeah, like make it like, come on, man. Like you want, and then Jay, you find it to be a victory or victorious when they finally give you something like this. Oh well, we will make James Bond is going to be Idris Elba. He's going to be black, and yeah, man, we fought, but you didn't win anything. They win at the whoever's creating this or created this, they win because they get your dollars at the end of the day, and that's the only thing that matters at the end of the day. When you didn't have no money, right? When you were really oppressed and you didn't have any money. Before, we're talking about before with the bus lines and all that. Before that, it was no use of integrating you. Who gives the only thing you had was your work, pick cottons, whatever they had for you. That's the only thing you had to. That's the only thing you had to offer.
They didn't need anything.
They didn't need anything from you. As soon as you started making some money. Oh, okay. Come on. All right, come on. Maybe we do have a seat at the table for you. You know what, James Bond? We might turn him. We might turn. Yeah, we might turn him into Raheem Bond.
Jamal Bond.
And then, yeah, man, we showed them like what the and then go to the
no, you didn't.
And then go to the movie theaters in groves and spend all our money on popcorn and jujubes and tickets and alcohol or whatever we have to do.
$14 nachos or some shit.
And the movie grosses $500 billion, and we think it's a victory for us.
They made all the money. Like, what are you talking about? This is the thing. Like, you brought up the fucking Ryan Coogler. He didn't go make Dracula black. He made his own movie. Go make your own movie.
Oh shit, that would have been some.
If you want a black superhero, go make a black superhero. If you want a black spy, make a black spy. If you want a black fucking mermaid, make a black mermaid. Man. Like, go make shit. You can do this.
We need to
create something. Stop trying to pivot everyone else's everything. Well, it's about time Spider-Man's black. Why?
I don't know.
Why?
I don't want a black Spider-Man. How about that?
Yeah, it's a little nerdy white dude. Who the fuck cares? He could be black, sure. But no, but he doesn't need to be, because you know what? You would have a fucking heart attack if they made Shaft white.
Shall have to be, Superfly. You know what a white Superfly slapping holes and shit.
You have a motherfucking heart attack if they made Superfly white. Come on.
Bitch,
Like,
give me my residuals, or I will be forced to give you the forehand. Like, what are we doing?
hold up. But now y'all would have a heart attack if they remade The Matrix and made Morpheus a white guy this time.
I'd be pissed. I'd be pissed. Fuck we doing, man. And that's interesting enough. Interesting enough that Neo was supposed to be black. He was supposed to be Will Smith.
Yeah, Will Smith.
And he turned that. What a fucking. I'll never forget him.
To do Wild Wild West, which is crazy.
That's crazy. The Wild Wild West.
In fairness, I would imagine on paper they both sound equally ridiculous.
Yeah, for sure. So, for sure. Reading The Matrix is like, what? He didn't understand.
The fuck is this?
He didn't understand it. Yeah, that was the excuse. But
yeah, especially if no one came and explained the
whole
underlying meanings and whatnot to him. Then I don't know if we talked about this. What's interesting? Both of the people who wrote The Matrix, both of the dudes, both of the brothers became women.
Yeah, you bestowed that information on me, and
that's weird.
I'm not even happy you told me that.
I mean, shit, you shouldn't be because it's weird. But it's weird, though, is the thing. It's very interesting. Like, you think about it's this thing that's widely accepted as like a representation of how society really works, right? And both of the authors became women who were brothers, which is weird. And a little while ago, they were talking about how then they tried to say that The Matrix was an allegory for the trans experience. No, it's not.
Get out of here.
No, the fuck it's not.
Get the fuck out of here, man. And it's hard to even find the two brothers. What is the Moskowitz? I forgot their name.
The Wachowski brothers, I think.
Yeah, you can't even find like their real identity anymore. Like, it's hard to find like pictures.
Really?
Yeah, it's hard because when you told me, I kind of Googled it and found it kind of hard to find real, like, their old pictures of them when they were men. And I know they were men because I know it was the Wachowski brothers, but now I can't find any pictures of them being brothers.
Yes, it's the Wachowski sisters now, but that's just odd. Like, it's like, that's just weird. Like, what a strange coincidence that would be.
Turn one of the, The Matrix is one of the most, and of course I got The Matrix in the background. I got the bent spoon, so it definitely influenced a lot with me. You definitely think differently after you watch a movie like The Matrix, right? And it is a coincidence that the authors or the writers I know there was someone else who came out and said that she wrote it, a black woman. I don't know what happened with that, but it's widely known that the Wachowski brothers made the Matrix, and I find it interesting that both of them become women after creating this iconic movie about the system and how it works. That these two brothers would find themselves now scissoring.
See, what's crazy is there are some people who hear this and say that we're being conspiracy theorists. But the more or the less likely, like the less believable thing to me is that this just happened organically. Both of them. How?
Brothers.
And why them?
And why them?
Them. And again, because they sat there a few years, maybe a decade ago, trying to come back and rewrite it and say that it's actually an allegory for the trans experience, not society. So if you saw The Matrix, the underlying message of that is if you saw The Matrix and related to it, maybe you ought to switch your gender.
Yeah.
Maybe you ought to switch your pronouns, because that's why you related to it. Not because you think society is this way, but because you feel like you're not right in your own skin. Maybe you need some gender affirming therapy.
Shit. I believe that The Matrix is still fucking cool, and I believe that the Wachowski brothers are still fucking brothers. They're not sisters. And yeah, go ahead, Jay.
I believe that they didn't come to this conclusion on their own, this decision on their own, that they needed
Hell
to
no. Why
switch themselves up.
why would somebody be a chick? Why would a dude turn himself into a chick? Especially two brothers.
Two brothers.
We'll leave.
That's
We will
crazy.
leave. We're gonna leave you with that. Why don't you ponder that?
Think about that.
There's a lot of game within the game with that. There's a lot of reading between the lines that comes with that, right?
We start giving people fucking homework assignments.
I think we shall. I think that's a great idea. You know what? When people see this episode, um, in the comments, uh, give us some feedback on what do you think about these things, and we will reply back to you. I want to hear
Well,
what
yes,
you guys
absolutely,
think.
1000%. Specifically, this Matrix thing
Yeah.
with these two brothers.
Yeah, what do you think about that? Let's ask the public. What is?
How do you think that took place?
Are we being conspiracy theorists? Which we're not. It's just.
Are we reaching?
I mean, reaching for what? There's two. They did become chicks.
That's true.
Yeah, we're not reaching for anything. We're just saying it's a coincidence.
It's weird.
It's weird. That's what we're saying. So it was weird. So in the comments,
tell us what you think about that.
Tell us what you think. We will respond back to you. Any other thing? I don't want to hear your year butts. I will not respond to a year but. You said I can be the greatest ever. Yeah, but. Or you said I don't have to be poor. Yeah, but. I don't want to hear that shit. I'm not debating you.
Yes, I've tried to defend your loserdom.
Yeah, I'm not going to debate with you with that. Like, fuck that.
Nah, that's ridiculous. No. We're not debating stupid shit. That's dumb.
No, yeah.
The fact that motherfuckers want to sit there and actually argue for their shortcomings when people sit there, like, I'll say that shit too. People, I agree with everything you said, but the thing about being poor, I can't do anything about that. Why do you want to think that? Like, what? Like, why do you want to think that? That's the thing that I wonder, right? Because even if I'm wrong and you can't do anything about being poor, if you accept that I'm right, your life will be better because you'll still be trying. You still have hope. You still have forward momentum. Maybe you can't be a fucking billionaire. Okay, cool. But failing on the path to trying to become a billionaire means you'll make several $1 million.
Yeah.
But succeeding on the path and trying to get nowhere means you're going to get nowhere.
Ah, man, you shoot for the moon, man. You're gonna get you don't reach the moon, you're gonna get a couple stars on the way down. Fuck it.
That's like, yeah, man, aim high. Even if you don't hit it, you're better off trying to do that. But you want to sit there and argue, I can't do that. There's nothing I could do to overcome my depression because you don't understand. Because when I was 12, my parents was mean to me. I'm sad forever now.
But we
like, what are you fucking talking about?
We you know what?
My trauma altered my brain.
We talked about that, OJ. Comfort. We talked about the comfort in these things and saying these things and the coziness and the comfy confines as you taste. Talking about we started off with the past and people finding it comfortable and excuses. People find excuses comfortable and they find holding on to their shortcomings. They find this to be comforting, right? And this is our job. Well, not our job is to try to negate some of that. Like, yo, fuck that comfort shit, dog. It's uncomfortable to think opposite. It's uncomfortable to think you're fucking God walking this earth. It's an uncomfortable feeling. But guess what? Once you start to combine once you start to revel in it, once you start to really believe in it, it's an enlightenment that I can't describe, right? So fuck those shortcomings and fuck the comfort that comes with that. It's the uncomfortableness that comes with wanting to be great that you need to be reveling in, that you need to be living in, right? That's the game within the motherfucking game.
That's a motherfucking fact. Exactly what you said. When you decide that you want to be great and understand and accept that you can, when you decide that you want to be a god and understand and accept that you can, you will become comfortable every time you're not doing something great. You will become uncomfortable every time you're not doing something godly, because
Mm,
that will be what it is that you think about, and that'll be what it is that you focus on. And then you won't allow all of this bitch shit into your life, all of these excuses, all of this mediocrity, all of these motherfuckers sitting there talking about your past and how you used to do all of these things yesterday. And you won't allow all of these excuses and, oh, it's my depression, it's my trauma, the system's holding me down, oppression, white supremacy, because that's ungodlike.
absolutely. And stay away from the charlatans. Stay away.
The rich motherfuckers telling you can't make no money.
Yo, I've had it up to here with them. I've had it up to here with them motherfuckers, man. The motherfuckers,
Motherfuckers sitting in expensive ass studios talk about I'm oppressed
and you listening to these motherfuckers like, come on,
like
man,
an idiot.
stop it, stop it.
you, you ain't named the episode.
I did not name the You know what? I'm gonna name this shit charlatans.
I had a feeling. That's how we rocking. Avoid the charlatans, people.
Avoid the charlatans. That is the game within the motherfucking game. We speak the truth. We cross the lines, and we also read between them.